Live music is facing a crisis. Across the world, grassroots music venues are closing their doors. In 2023, the UK Group Music Venue Trust reported that 125 venues had closed, and of those that remained, 38% were running at a loss. All of this coming at a time when there is seemingly more demand than ever for live music experiences. So, what's going on then? And what could we be doing about it? My name's Jay, and I'm an amateur musician from Bristol in the UK, and I've been playing in various grassroots venues for a few years now. And I'm terrified of losing those vital hubs for my communities. So I've decided to investigate. To kick off my research, I spoke to one of my friends, Jack, who's been headlining small venues as the band Lakedown, and has been working behind the scenes in some bigger venues and festivals.
I think it's a different vibe you get with the crowd and a different sense of communication that you have with them, because in a place like the Exchange Basement, it's a lot more intimate and you can really communicate with your fans and the people in the room so much better than if you're playing at like a festival. You kind of created a connection with the Thunderbolt in that sense, and they're a great venue. They're a great grassroots venue, and I feel like every up and coming band in Bristol needs to play there at least once, and should, because it's great. To hear that a place where you've made memories and connections just get severed like that, it's quite heartbreaking, really. And you've got to think, like, the connection that we might have with the Thunderbolt, another act might have with Crofters or Moles or something else, and that's just been lost. It's quite a shame, really.
Okay, so that's given me a little more context, but I think to really understand this, I'm going to need to go out and see for myself. Behind me is the Crofters Rights venue in the Stokes Croft area of Bristol. This venue sadly closed its doors in July, having no events for August. They initially said they were planning to reopen in September, but as of late October, when I'm filming this, there's no new news and the lights are still off in there. The reasons are probably what you'd expect: rising costs and the landlord upping the rent and disputes with the landlord about the rent, all pressuring the venue into closing down, especially with in August the student culture that's usually really vibrant in Bristol going away for a period of time. And yeah, hopefully it'll be back again soon. But it's not game over. Some sites are managing barely to stay open, and I managed to get in touch with a personal favourite, Exchange on Old Market Street. This venue has been open for over a decade now, hosting big names from the 1975 to Haim to Fortet. They have one 250 capacity and 160 capacity room, both helping independent artists and promoters get their foot in the door. But it's not been easy for them. I sat down with their bookings manager to learn how they've managed to stay afloat in this chaos.
The cost of living crisis is difficult because if the cost of everything goes up and the amount of money that people spend in your venue goes down, then those two things are quite hard to balance. But we're always just working on ways to keep surviving. This basement stage was one of those that, we excavated the space back. It's only 40, 50 people down here every night, but actually when you're opening anyway, getting an extra 40, 50 people through the venue every night is really helpful, and plus all the most interesting shows happen down here. The music industry is sustained on alcohol sales, for better or for worse. But there's no money in hiring the venue out, there's no money in gigs. They say this is a sober person, but it is what it is. We rely on bar sales to survive as a venue, and the amount that people spend on nights out has decreased because everyone's got a lot less money. And we've only survived because we did our community ownership campaign. So we sold the venue to the community in 2018, and we now have 420 owners, I think. And the money that generated for us allowed us to invest in things to improve the venue, to just sort of sustain it, and I think more importantly it's created a a sense of community around it, where people are more likely to want to come to shows here and spend their time here with us. Because that's, people always ask how you save a music venue. It's just buy a ticket to a show.
Okay, so my name's Paul Anstey, bass player. We're at the Exchange venue in Bristol. We're having an afternoon rehearsal, which we have an improv afternoon once a week here to play. We play in the evenings and play gigs all around Bristol. This is basically our main venue. Both Aidan and I are shareholders, minor shareholders here. So that's the story, really.
Yes, I'm Aidan Searle. I'm a Bristol-based drummer and improviser. I've had a long history with the Exchange. So as shareholders, I think for me, I wanted to protect that opportunity to play, especially music which isn't really mainstream and perhaps doesn't attract kind of financial revenue.
Yeah, well, improv music works on a different scene to probably rock and pop and folk. You need to play you need to play together in different settings. So it's a good way to new players come along. We meet. There's a core. I think there's a core about 5 of us who've been doing this maybe for 2 years. Musicians come and go, but it's also a chance to practice new ideas because jazz is ever evolving. So you try to kind of find new ways to express yourself, basically. So it's just a great thing to do. For me, it's therapy, I must say. So I'm sure it is for most of good musicians. That's the way they think about it. It's a kind of love of what you do. And this place has enabled us to do that kind of thing, which has been brilliant.
If I didn't know how important grassroots venues were before I started this project, I certainly do now. And the way to support the people who make these spaces possible is just to go and try. Listen to a new act and buy a drink. You might just end up with a life-changing night out.
We want people to come down and have a great time, because this is a great space. There's loads of other great spaces in Bristol where you can come and have fun. Just come and take a punt. Come and check out a band you think you'll like. Just promise it, you'll have more fun than if you see Oasis from 6 kilometres back in a giant field. So I promise you'll have the best.